Welcome back to The Takeout. We're more than 1 week away from the New York City mayoral election. New York, of course, where everything is bigger. And once again, the Big Apple has set a record, this time in early voting. According to the New York City Board of Elections, numbers just into us, more than 223,000 people have cast ballots from Saturday through today. First 3 days of early voting. That's over 50,000 more than the total number of people who voted early in the city's last mayoral election. Early voting runs until, I believe it's Sunday. So they're going to blow these records away. Let us bring in our panel. Nancy Cook is a senior national political correspondent for Bloomberg News, and Tom LoBianco is co-founder and editor of 24 Site News. Both of you see these numbers, these record numbers, and think or observe what?
Well, it looks like Mamdani is going to win in New York, and that there's a huge amount of enthusiasm behind his candidacy. I think that his comments on the lack of affordability in New York is really speaking to people in the city, but also young progressives. I think that within the context of the larger Democratic Party, though, his candidacy is sort of complicating things because I feel like there's a bunch of, at the national level, centrist Democrats who want them to move away from the Bernie Sanders, AOC sort of vibe and take a more centrist approach heading into the next presidential election. And it looks like he's on track to win with a huge amount of enthusiasm. So it's just going to complicate the party's search for an identity at this point.
Yeah, or at least that identity will be in some way affected by what happens in New York. While we also have two big races in New Jersey and Virginia that, at least in the case of New Jersey, may be tightening a little bit.
Oh, that's fascinating. The fact that, and this goes back to all the lessons of after 2024, it feels like the Democrats just keep on postponing their reckoning. All right, the Republicans clearly went through it long ago, and we're living through that. But for the Democrats, they keep postponing this stuff. And one of the big lessons out of 2024 is you have to show up. All right, like you can't rely on the other candidate just being bad. Now, Virginia is different. Winsome Sears is struggling down. It's been that way for a long time. Now, Jack Ciattarelli is
Republican candidate in New Jersey.
Yeah, smooth, showing up, doing rallies. All right, and this kind of feels like it's that generational divide. Similar to Mamdani and Cuomo, very different, obviously, but you have to show up. I can't tell you how many Democrats are still struggling to learn this lesson. That's what the voters want. They want to see you. It's a different dynamic, and Mikey Sherrill has not been doing that, at least not enough.
You've also been looking into Virginia and New Jersey. Would you agree, or is there something more to it?
I think that's right. I mean, I think that, in New Jersey, the Republicans are salivating. They would love to win that seat. And it has the race, like people thought that, it would be a lot further apart, that the Democrats would take it away. But the fact that I think Republicans even have a chance there does really complicate the message for Democrats because Mickey Sherrill was supposed to be sort of a national security mom, like a new mold of a candidate, potential successful candidate for Democrats. And Republicans, there's a chance they could take back that seat. Virginia is a little bit of a different cycle or a different election, but I think that we're looking at three really different races, next Tuesday. And what's going to happen is they each may offer entirely different takeaways for Democrats. It's not going to be, I think, a clear-cut message about progressives or centrist messages or economic messages, like what the party should actually do heading into the midterms next year.
The president himself has not been as active in those two gubernatorial races, given he's not necessarily the most popular guy there. And in the midst of his Asia trip this week, he suggested that whole Trump 2028 talk might actually be a thing, because maybe, he was asked, he could run for vice president. Take a listen to what he had to say.
One theory on how you might try to serve a third term is that you could run as the vice president.
Yeah, I'd be allowed to do that.
Is it the White House or the White House counsels or your legal position?
No, you'd be allowed to do that, but I wouldn't do that. I think it's too cute. Yeah, I would rule that out because it's too cute. I think the people wouldn't like that. It's too cute.
So it's too cute, but he's not completely batting it down, and ironic that Marco Rubio is looking over his shoulder as he talks about this. When you talk to Republicans who hear this, what are they telling you?
Well, I think there's two things that are happening. One, I think Steve Bannon is out there saying that, Trump advisors and allies are exploring a way that they could change the Constitution so Trump could run again. I feel like after January 6th and what happened at the Capitol that day, where Republicans, a bunch of protesters tried to overturn the results of the election, we have to take these comments seriously. You can't just discount them. On the other hand, I do think that Trump is a showman and wants to keep this talk alive because otherwise he is a lame duck president, essentially, and Republicans don't have to buy into his message.
You agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
15 seconds.
Yeah, the tacking. We have to watch the actions. That's why J.D. Vance does this little dance over there. As you said, the look from Rubio. I mean, I don't take it seriously, but again, we don't know.
Right. We've never entirely been there. And as long as they keep talking about it, we should too. Nancy Cook, Tom LoBianco, thank you both very much.